These are still going. What's going on? Enoch and Elijah here from Kentucky. Just hanging out, making we're making carne asada burritos.
Yeah, that meat that.
I got you. We're just chill stream, hanging out Saturday afternoon. He drove down from Michigan for this, so
Just for this.
just for this. He's going back after. He just got here about 10 minutes ago.
Yeah, we're about to leave in an hour.
6-hour drive just for this. Thoughts on evolution. I guess we're starting out with the Q&A. Elijah, thoughts on evolution?
I'm not a fan, but I'm not a scientist, so I'll try not to get into these topics.
Yeah, I'm not a fan either, honestly. There's a few holes in the theory of evolution that I think is problematic. I tend to hold to the biblical understanding of creation, the six literal days, just like the church fathers did.
Just like all the idiots.
Yeah, all those guys. The church fathers are smart. That's going on here. So God bless you too, Richard. Thank you for hopping on, hanging out with us. We got the kids together. I got 5 kids. Elijah's got 3. I got 4 boys, and I finally got my girl. Elijah, you got
1 girl, 2 boys.
1 girl, 2 boys. And yeah, we're just got the kids together, hanging out, making burritos. We both miss San Diego style burritos. Can't get that in the Midwest. Everyone knows the best burritos, best Mexican food is from SoCal. So God, going to chant Latin Mass. God bless you too, man. Latin Mass all the way. Elijah goes to the TLM once a year.
Yeah.
Only when he's in town. When I'm in town, he goes to the TLM. Now, when do you go to the TLM? Do you almost every week, or?
We go to a we try to go to the Institute of Christ the King as much as we can, but we usually end up going to the one that's like 3 minutes from my house.
Is that St. Joseph's?
St. Joseph's is the Institute of Christ the King, but the one that's 3 minutes from my house it's called an Oakland County Latin Mass Society, which they borrow that chapel just to do the Latin Mass.
So it's a chaplaincy?
Yeah, it's not part of any diocese or anything like that. But
yeah, see, there's loopholes to
that's one of them.
Traditionis Custodes.
But that's been there since before Traditionis Custodes, so it's not like they were doing that to create loopholes.
Gotcha. I know that our fraternity, we're in a chaplaincy, so we borrow a church. It's actually the second oldest church in Kentucky. Mm-hmm. It's a sweet church.
There it is.
And we're going tomorrow, actually, the 10 a.m. mass. So if anybody's around, come say hi after.
Yeah.
Yeah, come say hi to Elijah.
Yeah.
I'll be in first communion class with my boy. So this is a chill stream. Questions, ask us anything, whatever is in your heart. Personal, professional. I'm a mediocre rapper. Elijah is a professional scholar when it comes to the papacy and the Eastern Fathers on Mariology. What is it? What do they call that?
Apologist?
Apologist, but it's a self-proclaimed scholar.
Oh, yeah. LeBron James.
Yeah, that's right. The chosen one. Yeah. We can talk NBA.
Mm.
Who's the GOAT? I got MJ.
MJ is fine. Let's go with MJ.
He doesn't want to argue this.
No.
MJ's the greatest. Oh man, how do you check this stuff over here? Is it the same thing? Is there messages?
I think you have to go to where you were, but you have to mute it.
Gotcha. Okay, let's try that. I've never done this before.
And then you see that comment? Right there. There you go.
Gotcha. Okay. Listening to the full album when I'm working out at the gym. Hey, thank you so much for listening to the album. That's really what I think the music is for. I said this in a post recently. You're never going to catch me saying that my music is, should be bought or shared for the sake of salvation. It's not something that's used for evangelization. It's something that can be used that you can listen to at the gym or with your family without worrying about the content. And because the music is syncopated and it's not Gregorian chant, which is the perfect form of sound of music, I would definitely listen to my music in moderation, which I think the gym is the perfect spot for it. So thank you for doing that.
Yeah.
Hello, how are we doing today? We are doing just fine.
Our second question.
Third question. Thoughts on evolution was the first question. If anybody missed that, we're not a fan of evolution.
Yeah, but that's not the second one. How
Well,
we doing today?
Oh, that's right. That's right. How we doing today? Second question. We got 2 questions already.
Yeah.
One for each.
Yeah. First one was tougher.
Yeah, a little more tough. Yeah. Yeah. Throw some more questions at us. We are twins, 5 minutes apart. Take a wild guess who's older. 5 minutes. So one of us had to stay back and pay our womb service.
Yeah.
Crickets. I drew you fan art a while back. Which one, me or Elijah? Did you somebody draw you fan art? I think that was me. I remember that. Yes. Thank you so much for doing that. That was beautiful. Thank you. I remember somebody drawing a picture of Enoch. Is Ubi Petra's debate in the works? Blessing to you both for Catholic Sweden. Yeah. I'll be debating Ubi Petra. No, I'm just kidding. Go ahead. That's you.
No, it's not in the works. There's nothing in the works with Ubi Petrus. I've asked him multiple times in the last year. I just asked him recently, like 2 or 3 times. I think yesterday, 2 days ago, for both. And he just doesn't respond. He just ignores. He just does these hit and runs, and he's not willing to debate at this point. I mean, it's obvious. Before, like a few years ago, he was calling me out to debate, and I said, I'll debate you if you reveal who you are first. I'm not debating a paper bag over your head. So he said no, and then since he revealed himself with the Eric debate, then I went after and said, okay, let's debate now. You revealed yourself, and he's been running since then. Yeah, I mean, he just has a complete misunderstanding of the papacy, and he knows that he's not able to prove his understanding of the papacy using the Catholic magisterium. So it's really going to be the Catholic magisterium debate versus Ubi Petra's opinion, and he knows that he can't have a debate like that. So
right,
nothing in the works. But I do have a debate coming up on November 7th with Father Joseph Sweden. I have a debate coming up on December with the other Paul, Protestant. I am working on a debate with Oriental Orthodox named Agan in January, and I'm working on setting up another debate versus an Eastern Orthodox. There hasn't been any that I've pinned down, but there have been some interest, and we're going to see who we're going to choose for that, and that's probably going to go sometime next year as well. That's that's Sam Shamoon.
Yeah, I know. This guy. He said, "What about Jay Dyer? You got any shot at debating Dyer?" Or
no,
okay,
Dyer already said no.
Dyer said no. Dyer said no. So it was it's a Dyer situation, guys.
Yeah.
Hello, fellows. I met a while back at Pro Life Conference in California. Back when we performed the CDJ. I remember that. Yeah, remember when we were doing that? Yeah. We were performing our Pro Life song. What was the name of that song at the time? It was back in 2010, I think. 2009. Sebastian? Think Twice. Yeah, Think Twice was the name of the song. I think they almost changed it to Sebastian. Yeah. Thanks for hopping on. I appreciate that.
Yeah, Sam. If you want to come on,
we're putting Sam to sleep here.
Come on and join us and wake everyone up, Sam.
We'll
send you the StreamYard link if you want.
We need Sam to wake everybody up. Elijah, want to take this one?
Discussion that's been happening lately. That's an interesting one. So as far as the death penalty, if you think the magisterium is saying that the death penalty is intrinsically evil, inherently evil and intrinsically, that's a problem, right? I don't think the magisterium has said that. Maybe that's an opinion of the Pope, but that's not the official magisterium teaching, right? The way I understand it, and I'm not an expert in this topic, right? The way I understand it is the death penalty used to be okay because we didn't have these securities like jails where we can put people in jail for life, and so we had to kill them in order for them not to be menace to society. But now that we do have these high security jails, we can keep them in jail forever or until they die. And so it would be wrong to kill them if we can just keep them sustained in one place and they're not able to harm society. That's what I understand about it. And if that's what it is, I don't have a problem with that as far as like making it fit into a theological, like magisterial, like issue where you have a contradiction. It's not a contradiction. It's clearly a development. I do have a problem with it because I am pro death penalty on very rare and extreme cases. So, yeah.
You know, I can understand the reasoning with facilities, the technology that we can keep the bad people away for a long time.
Right.
We can keep them away from society, keep them safe. I think number one, maybe in a taxpayer.
Here, let's send. Hold on, I know you're talking. But let's
Yeah, we can send that over to Sam.
So only Sam.
Wait, hold on, let's put it there because.
Well, you don't have to let them in, so they're going to be in the background, and so you can just.
If you want to just message it to him.
All right, let me do that.
I don't necessarily have an issue with that. Of course, there's places, third world countries. Just go to email. Yeah.
All right, Sam, we're about to invite you in, buddy.
Yeah, it'd be great to get Sam over here. There's third world countries where I think you can't keep them away, so the death penalty might be, you might have to use it there. My biggest issue is this whole idea of, and Elijah, correct me if I'm wrong, this idea of infinite dignity.
Right.
That
can go so many places.
That is confusing to me because number one, I think only Christ can have infinite dignity because he's an infinite being. I don't know if you can have an infinite dignity for a finite being because we're all finite. So if you label now somebody has infinite dignities, therefore it makes the death penalty problematic towards the dignity of the infinite dignity of the human being, then you have to apply that to the past.
Right.
So did nobody have infinite dignity before the 1990s or 2000s when JP2 promoted this?
Right.
So that's my biggest issue is they got to resolve this whole infinite dignity problem because then you're making the Holy Spirit schizophrenic and he's changing whether man has dignity or not depending on the decade. Right. So that's my biggest issue.
I'm not for what they did, but I'm the son of the church.
Yeah, Sam, would love to have you on. There he is.
Hey, Flynn.
What's up, brother?
Hey, what's up, man?
Man, you guys were supposed to be on my channel a year ago, but
yeah,
keep dropping the ball. But
good to see you, man. Sarmat says hello. What's up, Sarmat?
What's up, Sarmat? You only come to their channel, huh? Because they're Chaldean.
I think he just came because he saw your face.
Just know all donations to this channel will go towards Sam. So
no, buddy, no, you can keep the YouTube that takes 35% of your money.
Oh, of course they do. Of course they do.
You're like a handsomer version of me with a beard, but pray for me, man. I gotta keep me in prayer. I'm trying to do a lot of cardio for 3 weeks because I got to do PPD, baby, and I put on 25 pounds. I'm looking like Sarman. We got to bring you on, but you're coming on next week, Elijah. God willing, you're in on that, right?
Oh, what you guys talking about?
Sijwadi, is that his name?
Yeah. Did you see both videos?
I haven't watched them yet. I have to read his paper and watch it. I've been in Kentucky. I leave tomorrow, so I'll have to sit down on Monday. And
you guys both are in Kentucky?
Yeah, I live there, so he's just visiting.
What?
Yeah.
You're in Kentucky, Holmes?
Yeah,
I'm Kentucky. Now I'm coming.
You better come. You better come. I got 9 acres over here.
Okay, now let me ask you a question. Does it get cold over there?
Yeah, but not too bad.
Because I don't want to give out my location unless the Muslims find my cat. But eventually I'd like to leave here. It's too expensive because I'm one guy doing ministry by myself. So if there's places that are very cheap, I'd like to move. But we'll talk, man. You got my number, Holmes?
Yeah, I got you.
Jay?
I'll call you. Kentucky's a good place to live. Absolutely.
Yeah, I knew. Honestly, I do because it's not easy for me. I mean, when I moved here, it was $1,200 for 2 bedrooms. It's now $1,500. And I'm one guy with kids that have to pay them, child support and all that. So it's life, brother. But I will hook up with you and we'll bring you on, But Lord willing, this Wednesday, he said you're coming on, Elijah.
Yes, excited for that.
I'll,
you
I'll,
got
I'll be tuning in.
those. The reason why you should watch those videos because earlier
Uh-huh.
he's proving the papacy with philosophy.
Yes.
Then he comes back and says why he rejects the papacy because the guy's a fraud.
Yeah.
Mm. I got
Yeah,
you.
His Joshua Sijuati claimed that he could prove from philosophy the papacy is true. All of a sudden, he becomes Eastern Orthodox. Now, the same philosophy falsifies the papacy, which means you can't trust him.
No.
If your philosophy was faulty when you use it to prove the papacy, why should I trust your philosophy when it comes to the Trinity? See, he doesn't know he's embarrassing himself.
Yeah, and doesn't he think that the Roman See had didn't have a monoepiscopate in the first century?
That comes from James White type of arguments. They based that on Clement of Rome and Ignatius. But if he wasn't as dumb as I look, if you go with Ignatius, the letter, because it says he doesn't mention the bishop, Ignatius doesn't mention even deacons. So that means there are no deacons either.
Yeah. Right.
Mm.
Yeah.
If you read the letter Ignatius to Rome, no mention of presbyters or deacons. So if we follow the logic of these geniuses, they had no church authority whatsoever, not just a bishop. They didn't have presbyters or deacons. This is how stupid some of these individuals are.
Right.
It would make sense that as he's writing to Rome on his way to Rome, he wouldn't mention the clergy lest he gets them in trouble and gets them killed.
Yeah.
Because he's on his way to be martyred.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And then with St. Clement letter, doesn't he think that the fact that it says we means that there's multiple bishops? Is that his argument? I mean,
he's brilliant. Yeah, he's brilliant. He's brilliant, man.
Elijah said this question over here. Elijah, can you parse out the SSPX critique on collegiality and how does that jive with the papal minimalism? So
it doesn't. And I think that's what I take issue with SSPX, taking issue with collegiality, because collegiality is literally what the ecclesiology of the first millennium and second millennium Catholicism is. It's what we teach. So it's what we've always taught. But their SSPX misunderstanding of it is that they think collegiality creates two.
I think Kennedy Hall's on his way with his shotgun.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah. Supreme powers, the bishops and the Pope, but that's not what it is. It's not two contending powers. It's two powers that are always going to be in unison according to what the Holy Spirit is going to providentially allow. So.
Yes, we I got Sam and I are dropping a diss track on Janko, so that's coming soon. So
what? Hey, have you been invited by Georgienko?
No, I never get invited by Georgienko. He doesn't know who I am.
No, you don't want to. He's God have mercy. He will maybe as he matures, he'll come around. I was like him in my 20s. I was staunch anti-Catholic. I really hated the Catholic Church because I was taught it's the Antichrist. So. Here I am now. Look at me. But I'm not getting any better or holier. I'm getting more angry. So pray for me. I finished the race with integrity. In fact, Sarman at one time was angry at me because you were upset. You thought I was wrong because of Mufti Lufti Laftonia, huh, Sarman? Huh? Anyway. Well, you got a precious sister here. I don't know if you guys know Nina. Nina is a credit to her church, Oriental Orthodox, Syriac.
Yeah.
Wonderful sister. Loves the Lord. She's a credit
coming on, Nina,
to the church, and she shared her testimony on my YouTube channel about the passing of her son and how God flooded her with peace. She lost her second born. She had a child that miscarried, but her second born, Jack, God showed her signs, and she shares it on my YouTube, where he would appear to people saying, I'm at peace, I'm resting in a white robe to comfort her heart.
Beautiful.
Very powerful testimony.
Wow. God bless you, Nina.
God bless you. Yeah, I see her on your channel all the time.
Yeah, we got kids too. Yeah. I got how many kids you got now?
Me?
Yeah.
Only have two, brother.
Two
beautiful girls, but unfortunately I rushed to get married and they're in another state and I don't see them as much as I should. But what it is when you don't wait on the Lord. If you don't wait on the Lord. Now, when I did get married, I didn't get married sacramentally. I was evangelical, so I don't know what that means. As far as I'm concerned, I'm content with being single. But there is a young lady, just let you guys know, godly woman, loves the Lord, and if the Lord blesses that, she converted to Catholic faith. I came into the Catholic Church, and we did speak. We qualify for annulment, but she's in another continent, so she's the only one I'll marry. If not, I'll finish my days as a very handsome, bald-headed monk.
There you go.
Extremely handsome. Extremely.
Yeah, but hey, man, I'm here. If I can help you with anything, let me know, because the papacy is not my thing. But when it comes to Trinity Bible, talk to me, baby.
Yes.
Talk to me.
What's your favorite out of the four gospels?
Because of the attacks by liberals and Muslims, Mark turned out to be my favorite gospel, because the argument goes like this. You have an evolution. Mark, the earliest gospel, has a very low Christology. And as you see the evolution, you go from Mark to Matthew to Luke to John, the picture of Jesus evolves so that you only end up with Jesus being God in the Gospel of John. So that forced me to have to prove that Jesus is God in all the Gospels, specifically the Gospel of Mark. Because that's the argument of liberal critical scholarship. The consensus of scholars, even now those who are conservative, consensus of scholars say Mark is the first gospel written. But if you look at the church fathers,
Matthew.
They said Matthew wrote now, but here's the nuance. Here's where it gets a little tricky. Papias, Irenaeus, even Jerome talks about that Matthew wrote in Hebrew. So when they talk about Matthew writing a gospel, they say he wrote in Hebrew. Now, Hebrew would have been Aramaic. For them, it would have been Aramaic. Then Mark writes what Peter preached. Then Luke comes, and John. So you may be able to make room for Greek Mark was before Greek Matthew.
Right.
So that Matthew would have written in Hebrew, but later translated in Greek. You can make that case and still be faithful to the church. It's very complex, liberal critical scholarship, but it's now seeping into the Catholic Orthodox institutions. So one of the worst Bibles you can have, is New American Bible Revised Edition. When I was anti-Catholic, I used the notes, because it's supposedly a Catholic Bible, to attack the Catholic Church.
Wow.
If you ever pick up your New American Bible Revised Edition, their notes on authorship history destroys faith.
Yeah, it's very
Even Shibra Ali recommended. He said, in your dawa, use New American Bible, St. Joseph's medium-sized edition, because of the notes. They'll tell you there's a lot of fables, myths, errors, and Daniel didn't really write Daniel.
Yeah.
There are actually 3 different authors to Isaiah. This is all critical scholarship.
Wow. Sam, I think this question is for you, buddy. How do you talk to Mormons about the Trinity?
I mean, you're asking me a general question. You'd have to then show them from the King James Bible. Why? Because the Mormons say the Bible's only accurate insofar if it's translated, interpreted correctly. And because Joseph Smith used the King James Version, they only distribute King James Bibles and use King James Bible itself. So to them, they're like Muslims. The Bible is only true if it agrees with Mormonism, and it's only correct if it's interpreted through the lens of Mormonism. So, number one, they don't prefer any other Bible except the King James Bible. Rumor has it they want to produce their own English translation. So, first of all, use King James Bible. Secondly, you're going to have to then demonstrate Old and New Testaments do not teach what they believe about God the Father. Now, I don't know how many people know what they believe. They believe that God the Father was a man. And then he was elevated to godhood. He has a heavenly spouse, whom they call the Heavenly Mother. He has a body of flesh. And so he sires children. I mean, they'll say we don't know too much because God didn't leave too much about Heavenly Mother, but pretty much he's a physical being who's a sexual being. The first offspring he had was Jehovah, who then becomes Jesus. And then one of their other offspring is Lucifer, Jesus's younger brother. It's Mormon teaching. And they believe we who are now on earth, we're all there as spirit sons of Elohim. And that what Elohim did was send us into the flesh so that we can attain godhood like he did. And then we have our own planet, have our own kids, and that's how it works. That's in a nutshell what they teach.
Okay.
Right. So
yeah. Is it like a pantheon of gods, right? You get to have your own planet. Everyone becomes sun.
you become a god if you follow the Mormon rituals, because you have to follow the Mormon rituals. I mean, so if you're not a Mormon, good luck. You're not going to be a god, but you will, because why? Because God the Father was a man. He was elevated to godhood. That means there's another God above him. So I asked the Mormon, who's the original God? Who's the God that started all? They go, we don't know who he is. We don't know who he is. So how does this qualify as Christian?
Wow.
Oh, you guys are freezing up. Okay. Say, what are you saying?
I said it's a mystery. It's an Orthodox thing.
Yeah. How does this qualify as Christian, though? In fact, Islam is more Christian than Mormonism. Right? Because if you're telling me God the Father is a man and that there's a God who elevated him to godhood and he lives on a planet called Kolob, Kolob, and he has a heavenly mother, a heavenly wife, and he has children, that's not Christianity. It's like paganism, polytheism. So Islam is closer to Christianity than Mormonism.
So they teach what St. Ignatius taught, right? God became man so that man becomes God.
Like us.
Man, their God was a man who became God.
Right.
No, there is no, the Father has been God from all eternity.
Right.
Their God, the Father, was a man.
Yeah.
Some God elevated him to godhood. That means he's not the original God, but he's God to us. We are his children. And the fact that you're in the flesh means that when you were in the heavenly realm, you agreed with the plan of Jehovah, because there was a plan. Because the Father wanted to make all his sons and daughters, children, into gods like him. But they had to come in the flesh in order to go through the process he did to become a God.
Right.
So they had a council, and this council, they said, okay, how do we go about it? Jehovah said, all right, meaning Jesus, you send them into the world, give them free will, and if anyone makes a mistake, I'll come and die as an atonement, right?
Mm.
Now, Lucifer said, no, you send them, and I will force them to obey you so that there's no free will. So everyone agreed with Jehovah's plan over against Lucifer. Lucifer got upset, and those who agreed with him got upset. So they became Satan and demons. So their punishment was they were not sent in the flesh.
Mm.
Everyone who agreed, the Father then sends them to become flesh. So you agreed. That's why you're in the flesh. I agreed. That's why I'm in the flesh. He agreed. That's why he's in the flesh. If we had to agree with Lucifer, we would have stayed spirits, and we would have been opposing Elohim, and we'd be opposing mankind.
Right.
Mm. It's a nice bedtime story.
So how does that qualify as Christianity? I don't know.
Can you guys speak on the importance of chastity for single people? Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's on you, brother.
Chastity, that's going to be a struggle. Unless you're a monk, you're going to be struggling with lust, and you got to just mortify it by doing the spiritual disciplines that God tells us: prayer, fasting, Bible meditation, getting to the sacraments, things that I need to do a lot more. This is a struggle that's going to be yours even unto death. Now, even when you get married, believe it or not, there are married people tell you it's still a struggle. It's not something that marriage cures. So it's just discipline. Now, if you're given the gift of celibacy, one sign, that's in 1 Corinthians 7. If you go to 1 Corinthians 7, verses 1 and 9, Paul says that it's better for a man not to get married. But then he gives one sign. That's not the only sign. But if you burn and you can't control your lust, that may be an indication you need to get married.
Right.
So he says each man should find his own wife, each woman her own husband. So chastity is just sacrificing the flesh. The Bible likens the Christian life to spiritual discipline. It's likened to a soldier who's in the military. It's likened to a boxer. It's likened to someone who's running a race. So Paul says the spiritual life is a life of discipline, doing your spiritual exercises. And the more you do it, the more spiritually fit you become. It's like physical activity. I gained weight because I stopped doing cardio, started stuffing myself with pizza. But when I was doing a lot of cardio and intermittent fasting, I went down 197. See,
Right.
same thing with the spiritual life. And what's your disciplines? Prayer, Bible meditation, sacraments, adoration, trying to keep yourself occupied doing the spiritual disciplines as opposed to sitting idly and letting your eyes see things that you shouldn't. And the internet has made it hard for all of us. Believe me.
Yeah.
I open up Facebook. On Facebook, there's half naked women. I go to YouTube. We're surrounded like never before.
Right.
Yeah, that's very true. It is more difficult now because of the accessibility of it. No, I like what you said, because I think it's also the question of it being important. I think it's important because if you kind of can get some of these things and under control, you're not bringing more baggage into your marriage. Keeping things under control. Who was it? I think Joseph from the Old Testament, when he was tempted, he ran away, right?
She tried to seduce him
She tried to seduce him, yeah.
Cause him to commit adultery, and he ran. But sadly, she grabbed a hold of his cloak.
Right, and he was naked, right?
He was saying, see, he tried to come upon me. I fought him off.
Yeah, so I think that's an important one too. Trying to stay away from the occasions of sin, right? Running away from them.
You can't allow yourself to be with a female alone. You will succumb.
Yeah.
You can't do that. I mean, listen, I'm not dumb. I'm 53 years old. As a Christian, I've heard testimonies of people that would look to me as counsel, because in evangelicalism, everyone's qualified to be a pastor. That's why people tell people, don't come to me, go to your bishop, go to your priest. I'm not a bishop priest. I need confession. I need healing. I'm sick myself. But I can tell you this, even among godly people of the Lord who want to keep pure, when they hook up, the longer they wait to get married, the more susceptible they'll be to touching each other before marriage.
That's a good point. I think St. Alphonsus said you don't want to wait more than 9 months for that reason.
Brilliant wisdom.
Yeah. Question for you, Sam, from Sarmed.
This guy wasn't listening, huh? Sarman, did you listen? Pretend you listen to me, brother. I just said November 11th, so pray for these next 3 weeks so I can do a lot of cardio. I don't want to look pudgy like you, Sarman. By the way, I see your sister's brother-in-law is doing what I did. He lost a lot of weight. Hopefully he'll find it back with interest.
So you did intermittent fasting. You said, what did you do? The 16-8?
I was 320 pounds, and I started doing my car because I love to walk. I just hate weights. I used to be a bodybuilder. I hate it now, but I have to do it. So once I did intermittent fasting with, believe it or not, Nutrisystem, I went down 197.
Wow.
But, yeah. I have the pictures. Sadly, I'm back to like 230, 235, and I'm disgusted at it. But I'm not 320. But I'd like to be around. But 197, you look at it, you'll see I look sickly. I was like this, but I didn't care. But even then, I thought I was fat.
How long did it take you to lose all that weight? It was like a year?
About a year slowly. But you got to maintain it. Look, losing it is one thing. Keeping it off is another.
Yeah.
Losing it, it's keeping it off.
That's right.
It's got to be a lifestyle. It's got to be a lifestyle. If you do these yo-yo diets, it's not going to work.
Right. Yeah, no, that's true. I think fasting does help.
Oh, intermittent fasting is the way to go. Doctors even recommend it. Intermittent fasting.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point.
I've been doing it for 20 years. That's why I stay, I think, slim as.
Wow. You have for 20 years intermittent fasting?
Yeah.
Smart man.
Yeah.
So what's your window? What time? What do you start? When do you?
I just don't eat until like dinner time.
Smart man.
Yeah.
That's why he's such a gorgeous hunk.
Yeah.
Now, how many kids do you have, Elijah?
I got 3.
How about you? Because
5.
You mentioned 5. Man, brother, man, you really took Catholic teaching to heart. No contraception. I like that.
No conception, yeah. And when the flesh burns, you get married, you have a lot of kids.
So God bless. How long you been married then?
10 years now. 11 years, actually.
Is she Chaldean too or no?
No, she's Irish.
She's what? Oh, the Irish.
Yeah.
Luck of the Irish. Oh,
Look at the Irish. Yeah. She's Irish. I'm Iraqi, so we're Irashi.
And what about you, Elijah? Was Chaldean?
Yeah. Unfortunately, but yeah.
Sam, speaking of Chaldean, tell me your favorite Chaldean dish or Arabic dish.
Well, yeah. Remember, Chaldeans were not Arabs. I know.
Right, that's right.
I was one time in Michigan before I was in the faith. I saw a guy coming out of the gym, and I said, "Hey, man, you Assyrian?" He goes, "No, I'm Arab." I go, "Wait, are you Chaldean?" He goes, "Yeah." Who told you Chaldeans are Arabs, dude? What's the hate with you guys, man? You'd rather call yourself Arabs than Assyrian. You stinking haters, bro. Face the east and repent. But my favorite dish would have been sharwat qurtope stew with potatoes and peas in it, or also kari ruza, where they would make stew with chicken,
Yeah.
maybe peas, and with that, I used to love that. And kubba. Kubba, I used to love kubba.
The small one or the big one?
The big round ones I love.
big
Even the
round
small ones I like. Yeah, I like both of them.
Yeah, it's on maraca, right? They put it in maraca.
That's beautiful, bro. Shoot,
Yeah.
but I haven't had that in ages. Because I'm here with my cat. My cat can't cook, so I can't cook. So we're messed up.
He doesn't have a Chaldean. You need a Chaldean cat.
I'm telling you, this cat is like the cat's like many of the women that came in my life. Will eat my food, sleep in my house, and then dump me when I'm no good.
sounds like Eve. She ate you out of a house and a home, right?
Tell me about. So what are you guys talking about today? You talking about just the papacy or things in general?
Nah, just Q&A. We're just hanging out.
Yeah, we just decided to do
So
this.
folks, tap into their brains, ask questions, or they're going to bore you with asking me questions. Come on, shoot.
No, we're glad you're here. I see the viewership went up when you came on.
Yeah, definitely. Everybody wants to hear Sam, of course. Yeah, he wasn't in town since Wednesday. He's gonna leave tomorrow. And we just got done taking photos. We did like a family portrait type stuff with the kids and the whole family.
You went with your whole family, Elijah?
Yeah.
Oh, so you're all there to visit. Okay.
Huh?
All of you went up to see him. Okay, so what about your parents? Are they in Michigan or whatever they are?
Yeah, they live in Michigan, but they came to Kentucky too just now with us.
Oh, so everybody's there.
Yeah,
Everybody's there. Yeah, we've been all week.
Yeah.
So is there just a visit, or there's someone's birthday or anniversary, or
Just a visit?
Glory to God. Praise the triune God. Lord bless you. As your parents like devout Catholics too?
Yes. Yeah.
Glory to God. See, good. My parents were not. My dad wasn't a devout believer, nor was my mother. They didn't know much about the faith. So I had to, what they call autodidact, self-taught. I didn't have anyone to teach me about the ancient tradition, which is why it took me 20 years. When I left and I was in the world, came back, and then I got into Protestantism, Baptist theology first, King James only, then Calvinism, and took me 20 years. So that's another thing.
Wow.
We need qualified bishops to catechize Catholics. And if you're Orthodox, you need qualified bishops to do the same for you, or you're going to lose the kids to evangelicalism. Now, I'm not saying evangelicalism is like Islam, so I don't want people to misunderstand me, but the fullness of the truth is not in evangelicalism. Or you're going to end up having them become whatever. Last night on my stream, I actually showed there is now a group of Latino converts to Islam. They're all Catholics, Latinos who are converting to Islam, and they're going around converting Latinos to Islam. I showed some clips yesterday. One of them is in Santa Clara, California. He's very prominent, but he goes around, so you'll see them in Houston. So you're losing Catholics to Islam. And if you go to Jehovah's Witness Kingdom Halls, if you go to the Spanish service, most of them were Catholics.
Yeah.
So you're losing them because no one's teaching them why the Catholic Church is not the whore of Babylon, mentioned Revelation 17:18, why the Pope is not the Antichrist. And we need people, maybe this generation will change things until the Lord comes. They're now going to focus on going in-depth on scriptures, answering the objections, as well as showing the history behind the compilation of the Bible. What church did God use to give you the Bible? And they're going to see it's not evangelicalism. But we need people.
Yeah, well, we were from San Diego. We saw that a lot, actually. A lot of Hispanics going to J-Dubs.
See?
Yeah.
Why? Well, because they don't know. They're not catechized.
They're not catechized. That's right.
People, the most basic attack by these cult groups is the Trinity. They have one thing in common. Why you see me focus so much on the Trinity? Because when I came into the faith in the 90s, I had a Muslim and a Jehovah's Witness attack the Trinity. And I didn't know what to believe about the Trinity. And the Jehovah's Witness who was trying to convince me Trinity is not biblical was a Chaldean. His name was Kamal.
Come on, man.
Kamal, Chaldean named Kamal. He got electrocuted. He died. I think he was around 29 years old.
Wow.
So you had a Chaldean and his sisters, Chaldean, who were fiery Jehovah's Witnesses, going door to door, trying to witness to the Assyrian Chaldean community to make them Jehovah's Witnesses. And he answered what I thought were good arguments for the Trinity because I didn't know anything. I was green. And he had answers for them. Now, he got electrocuted. In fact, I have a video where I'm visiting the cemetery because my parents are buried there. And there's a huge tombstone erected in his honor. Chaldean, 29 years old. Yeah, I think he was 29. He wasn't even 30. Who had just been married for a year. He was an electrician, got electrocuted, and there, a young man died for Jehovah's Witnesses.
Mm-hmm.
And his sisters were still active when I left Chicago in 2019.
Wow, that's gnarly.
Yeah, he's young, but now what does that tell you? That he left the Catholic Church, and his sisters were very dynamic and fiery Jehovah's Witnesses, right? Trying to convert people. They even had a congregation, small, because Jehovah's Witnesses will have their groups meet. They had a group meeting just for Assyrian Chaldeans, and the guy who took over, his name was Wilson, and they would read from the Arabic Bible and then indoctrinate them about Jehovah's Witness teaching.
Sheesh.
Right.
So what are we doing about that? Because the most basic attack, now you guys are in advanced studies because you're dealing with other apostolic churches.
Right.
You're dealing with the papacy. That's because you're dealing with heavy hitters.
Yeah.
Eastern Orthodox or Inter-Orthodox Catholics, they disagree on the papacy and the filioque. But the average guy, your children, my children, the average person, it's not even there yet.
Right.
Where they're at is, you're telling me the Trinity. 3 is 1, 1 is 3.
Right.
Jesus is God. This is where they get people. Because when I can show you from Scripture, there is no Trinity. For example, if you tell me, well, hey, Jesus is equal to the Father, and the typical text they'll quote, John 14:28, the Father is greater than I. All right, well, explain that to me, Mr. Trinitarian. Or Mark 13:32, of the day or hour no one knows, neither the angels of heaven nor the Son, but the same arguments across the board. So I'm thinking, wait, Jesus just said he doesn't know what the Father knows. Or how does God die? Or the firstborn of all creation. Are we ready? Because this is the most essential doctrine to start with, who God is, who Jesus is, who the Spirit is, and that's their focus. If I can convince you Trinity's false, Catholic Orthodox crumble. Right?
That's absolutely true. Yeah.
So this is what we need to start with, the basic. Who is God? What do we believe about the Trinity? Why do we believe the Trinity? How is Jesus God and man? And then what is salvation? Because that's the next area of attack. Salvation, right? How are we saved? You guys, teach faith and works. Bible says, you know that. So you guys are heavy hitters. You're dealing advanced. You're dealing with people now. Why should they choose one apostolic church over another? That's the issue of the papacy and the filioque, right? But at the basic level down here, they're not there yet. They're not papacy,
Right.
filioque. They're here. What do you believe about salvation? You know that. The
Yeah.
number one attack is sola fide, sola scriptura, right?
Right.
Hope I'm
Yeah,
not
Protestants, they're all about what's the bare minimum that's going to get me to heaven. I don't need all this extra stuff, right? I just need the bare minimum. That's the objection that you usually get. Oh, the fathers believed in the bare minimum. It's all you need. All the other stuff is just extra decorations.
Well, we came into the faith in 2006, right around Benedict's first reign.
Mm-hmm.
So it's been almost 20 years now. We've been in the Catholic light and just been around Catholicism. And I've seen a shift among evangelicals, especially among Calvinists. It used to be, the claim used to be the church fathers don't matter because all we need is the scripture. Now you're starting to see, okay, the church fathers do matter. So what they'll do is they'll read them in their own preconceived.
Yep.
So they'll do exactly what the church fathers have to do with scripture. So now they're starting to read the church fathers and So I think it was a Calvinist that said that Augustine was Calvin, Calvin minded. Yeah.
Yeah, because John Calvin, Martin Luther followed Augustine. Calvin is even reported as saying, just read Augustine and you'll be reading me, because his view is predestination. So the term Calvinist, if you asked Calvin, he would say, I'm an Augustinian. So they claim Augustine as one of their own. Hey, buddy, Sarman, if you want, just tell them where I live, and you want me to give them my... Sarman, why don't you give them my address too? This is why I got to block you. I got out of Chaldean, Nasha.
Yeah, we deleted it.
Armand, did you color your hair? Because it seems like you're blonde.
Yeah.
Buddy, I'm already threatened by the world. You want to send me to let me see my daughters grow up. Stuck for Sarman, you know I'm going to block you on Facebook. You know that, huh? Khalil bin Sarman.
So
Are you still in Canada? Where do you live? Because I want the Muslims to know that you finance my ministry. But coming back to you, anyway.
I missed that guy. Simon, I'll be over in Michigan in November. So next month. So I'll
send me his address because I want to get the Muslims to find where he lives. Anyway,
I'll take care of that.
What were we saying about the fathers before this guy who's pretending to be listening rain on our period? What were we saying about the fathers? Oh yeah, Augustine. Yeah, Augustine. They claim Augustine, and they claim original sin, which they define as original guilt from Augustine, that you are already born condemned guilty for Adam's sin. It's not that you are born with a sinful proclivity, so your nature is tainted, corrupted, that you are guilty for Adam's sin, so that if you die as an infant, God can justly damn you to hell. Right. They attribute that to Augustine. So it's not original sin, it's original guilt. So Augustine has been a difficulty for even my journey, because I don't know much about Augustine. Augustine is just a brilliant saint. He's written so much that I don't think I will have time to ever peruse his writings. So I'm hoping the Augustinian scholars will be able to address these issues, because Augustine has posed a problem for me when I wasn't, when I was anti-Catholic, anti-Orthodox. And even now, when people appeal to Augustine like Calvinists do, I don't know what to do with it, because I don't know much about Augustine.
Right.
Well, the Catholic Church hasn't even taken a stance on this idea of predestination versus free will.
Right.
We just can't say that God predestines you to hell.
It was a double predestination.
That's all you can say. God predestines you to heaven. You can't say God predestines you to hell. That's the difference.
Now, the Calvinists will run with that, saying, so then you agree that God has elected people for salvation, and he hasn't elected everyone. That's Calvinism. So that's what the Catholic Church teaches?
Well, as long as free will is sprinkled somewhere in there.
Well, isn't it based on his foreknowledge?
No, that's not what Augustine didn't teach it based on his foreknowledge.
No, Augustine didn't teach that. Yeah, okay. But I'm saying the Catholic Church. I know Augustine. Does the Catholic Church would say, in agreement with Augustine, or that's his own opinion, that's not dogmatized.
Right.
God has already predestined those who'll be saved, because if that's the position, then the Calvinists say, well, then you're pretty much affirming Calvinism in that you're saying God has already ordained those who believe, and which means he hasn't ordained everyone to believe. So what's the difference?
Right, but free will is still somewhere in there. So with Calvinism, you don't have free will, right?
No. They'll say we do. It's compatibilism. They go, you have free will, but the freedom you have is to act in accord with your nature. Right. So they'll say, okay, let's put in free will. So the Catholic Church agrees that God hasn't predestined everyone to salvation?
That God hasn't or has?
Has not.
Has not. Again, it hasn't taken a stance on that.
Okay, so that's why I got to be careful if you say that has. Yeah. Augustine's one thing. What the Catholic Church dogmatizes is another thing.
Right. Because there was a controversy. I think in the 1200s, I think Dominicans versus I forgot who it was.
Those guys.
Yeah, so they were, one side was saying predestination, the other side was saying free will, and they wanted the Pope to respond, and he never did. He says, I'm not responding to this, and it hasn't been responded to since then. So
that's a breath of fresh air, because I left Calvinism because I couldn't reconcile it with the scripture or the views of the Christians before and after Augustine.
Yes. So if you read any of Eric Ibarra's stuff, he kind of goes to more the Calvinist route as far as his message. Yeah.
So then would he agree then if God has already predestined those who will be saved, that Christ only died for the elect?
I don't know. I'd have to ask him.
The Calvinism, it's a system. You have links in a chain. So you have 5 links. Now, not all Calvinists believe in this particular link. Meaning if God has already predestined those who will be saved, then it's superfluous for Christ to die for everyone when God hasn't predestined salvation for everyone. So he only dies for the elect. So if he only dies for the elect, salvation is not for everyone.
Yeah. If I were to, my hunch tells me that the Catholic Church wouldn't say that God has only died for the elect. They would say that God died for everyone. That's my hunch. So
Yeah, but that's what from what I've studied, that's what it teaches. Yeah, because
Yeah.
right now, you're sounding like you're a Calvinist
Yeah.
or Calvinism.
Right.
You know, so yeah,
Why
so
don't you send the link to Eric Ibarra. Let's get him on here. We'll
For sure.
solve this problem as we go on.
Yeah.
A question for you, Elijah. Do you believe the Bible teaches papal infallibility? If so, can you provide instances in the New Testament where papal infallibility was utilized?
Yeah, the Bible does teach papal infallibility, and according to the fathers, their three favorite passages to go when they try to prove papal infallibility is Matthew 16. You are walking on this rock, I will build my church. More so, though, is Luke. Was it, Sam, help me out with strengthen your brethren? Is that Luke 20?
your mic is a little muffled. I can't hear.
Luke 20, is it strengthen your brethren to Peter?
Luke 22, 31, 32, you mean?
Yeah, that's the one. So that's their favorite one to use. How can Peter strengthen his brethren if he was not infallible? Or how can his predecessors, or not predecessors, but whoever comes after him,
Right.
how can those guys strengthen their brethren if they're not infallible? So what are they strengthening? If they're strengthening them with error, then that's not going to work. And then John 20, when Christ says, feed my sheep, tend my lamb.
John 21, right?
Or John 21. That's why you're here. See, that's why. Those are that's the other passage that fathers use to show infallibility of the Roman See. And then Acts 15, I think, shows that there is this head and members, kind of like what I teach, the minimalism stuff, papal minimalism. It's right in play. Peter is the head of the church, and then the church gets together and they declare something infallibly. But
Right.
I think that's what I would use for papal infallibility.
Nina, if you go on my YouTube channel or just put Enoch, I got a song called Far Away that is very relatable to your story. So check that out. Check that song out if you don't mind. Let me know your thoughts.
Make sure you have some Kleenex. Right?
Is this there's two Mango Bangos? Is this the same one? Mango Bango, who's Kevin Gama, but I see a Mango Bango 9. I don't know if it's the same one. Catholic Church is for everyone.
I thought it was the same one. I don't know. I didn't know there was two of them.
Because I don't Bango. I've never seen a 9 after his name, so I don't know. Maybe it is.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, so like you said, Catholic Church. That's from what I've read, but I'm not a scholar, so I don't claim to be. I only stay in my lane.
Yeah.
I only talk about stuff that I'm, aware of. Oh, so it's you, Kevin? All right, that's good. Kevin is good. If you're happy, go to his Facebook post and he'll depress the hell out of you to make you appreciate it. It's always bad.
Right, you just got a new sub. This guy had no idea who you were.
Oh, I appreciate it. Thanks, brother. So Sam, you know why I talk about the papacy a lot?
I am assuming because you deal with the Orthodox and at one time your faith was rocked about the papacy.
No, it was never rocked. Other people's faith was rocked.
I see.
And so I wanted to defend that. But more so, the reason why I talk about the papacy a lot is because it's the only dogma that's unique to the Catholic Church. So if you prove that dogma, there's no other denomination of church that would qualify to be the true church.
Yeah.
If you prove the filioque, Protestants can say, "Oh, we believe in that." If you prove the Eucharist, Orthodox can say that. If you prove any other dogma besides the papacy, anyone can say, "Oh, I believe in that." So you're not proving the Catholic Church. But if you prove the papacy to be true, then you prove the Catholic Church and disprove everyone else. So you kind of take the shortcut route.
All right. Yeah, that's right. I can see that. Yeah, because even if a Protestant's looking into the ancient churches, then the issue comes up, papal infallibility. The main issue, Joe Roy, how are you blocked on my channel? Anyway, send me your link, a YouTube link, and then I'll see, and I'll unblock you. Here it is to my email. Send that to me. Yes, the number one issue I see with people, apart from whether the Bishop of Rome is the head of the church on earth, is the issue of papal infallibility. They really struggle with that because they'll say, how can you believe in the charism of infallibility in light of all the things that we see the Pope's doing right now today in front of our eyes?
Right.
And then you have people who don't make it easier because, and one gentleman in particular, I'll mention his name. I know you guys don't mention it. Mufti Lufti Laftonia, who started passionately defending what Pope Leo did, but all of a sudden seems to have taken a 180, and he's bringing out all the, what do they call it? All the controversial issues to the forefront, mentioning them, but not giving Catholics any hope. What should they believe? And he's now hosting a lot of Muslims. It's almost like he's now on a jihad to destroy faith in the Catholic Church. So this is the issue for people. It's one thing they'll say, okay, if the Bishop of Rome, all right, but you're saying he's infallible. How do you then square that with, for example, Pachamama? See, this, I hear this all the time. No, they ask, and because they hear I'm a Buddhist for the papacy. And so they go, so how do you reconcile this? How do you explain this? Right? So that's the issue. Papal, papal primacy, obviously, but papal infallibility.
Right. Well, that's strong.
Just one more comment, because I want you to understand. The Orthodox will say, well, look, we don't believe our bishop's infallible, so we don't have the same problem. You'll hear them say that all the time.
Right.
You guys have the problem. That's a major stumbling block, which needs to be addressed. But go ahead, brother.
Yeah, I would say I think it's a straw man and a misrepresentation to say that the Pope is infallible. The Pope is not infallible. Only God is infallible, right? And that's straight from the Relatio of Bishop Gasser that explains the official teaching of Vatican I. So what I would say is the Pope has the charism of infallibility on very rare cases, but he's not infallible. That's a big difference. I mean, it's not everything he does is going to be infallible. In fact, most of the things he does is not going to fall under the category of infallibility. Yeah. So, for example, if he does do this whole Pachamama thing, that doesn't fall under infallibility. If he does do anything like prayer with Muslims, that doesn't fall under infallibility.
There's a hierarchy of authority, isn't there, when it comes to papal documents, even among documents and
right. So we're not saying that he's infallible in these things at all. Like he's not infallible. He's not protected in these things. He's protected when he binds the whole church to a teaching of faith or morals. That teaching is going to be infallible. That's the only time he's infallible. So he has the gift to be utilized on rare occasions, but he's not himself infallible. Only God is infallible. And once they understand that, like, okay, that makes sense. Because you look at the apostles, they were not only infallible, but they were inspired, and they're men. And they made mistakes too. Like Peter made a mistake. He was a hypocrite, but he was still inspired in everything he taught on dogma and morals and, public revelation. So that's what I would say to that.
What Dharma just said, see, this thing, you know this, you studied. What did I just say about people who are not catechized?
It does scandalize, yeah. I don't agree with the things they do. A lot of the things they do, I don't agree with, but it doesn't falsify papal infallibility.
But how do they know that if they don't know what papal infallibility is? This is what I'm trying to get.
No, that's a good point. That's an excellent point. Yeah,
absolutely.
What you guys are doing, you're spending a lot of time on papal primacy, which is good. Yeah, I don't see you spending much time. That's just me, from my limited knowledge. I don't see people spending more time on papal infallibility.
So actually, all my work is papal infallibility. That's all I do.
Is it?
That's all. I don't do much on the universal jurisdiction. I am going to do that as well. But if you look at my videos, they're all on infallibility. That's what I'm. If you prove papal infallibility, you prove the other one, because there's no other church that claims papal infallibility. So if you just prove that, you prove the whole thing.
Yeah, that's what I think needs to be emphasized. So we need to get your stuff more out there in the limelight, because a lot of even Catholic apologists, they're defining their ministry by refuting Protestantism, like Catholic Answers.
Right.
Protestantism, I don't see it as a threat anymore. In the age of the internet, that's not the threat. The threat right now is the attack on the unique Catholic doctrines, papal infallibility, and papal primacy. Petrine primacy, you can get Orthodox on board. They'll tell you, yeah, Peter was that of the apostles. But that authority doesn't transfer only to the Bishop of Rome.
Right. I think infallibility is easier to prove than primacy, in my opinion, or supremacy. I think infallibility.
The average person thinks papal infallibility falsifies the papacy because they see the Pope making. So to you, remember, you're dealing on a higher level.
Yeah.
Your level is here. Most of the people are here. Even people outside the church, like Orthodox and Protestants, they have no idea what you mean by papal infallibility. So just as why you can have someone like Jay Dyer keep hammering that point. Keep hammering that papal infallibility is falsified by Vatican I and Vatican II. Yeah. Contradictions, right? You see the point?
Yep.
So you know it. William knows it. Eric Ybarra knows it. How many of the people like me know how to, because when someone challenges me, I'll prove to you Vatican II contradicts Vatican I. Well, you're talking to the wrong guy. I haven't studied those documents thoroughly.
Right.
Well, how am I going to show you there is no contradiction? But that's what they're doing to a Catholic or who doesn't know his faith. They'll say, look, Vatican I said this. that Protestants, for example, are heretics, schismatics, right?
Yep.
No salvation outside the church. Vatican II, separated brethren. How do you reconcile that?
Yeah.
Get my point?
Yeah.
Well, this is
absolutely.
actually a very interesting concept here. Are canonizations infallible?
Yes.
I think there's first primary and secondary infallibility, right?
Yeah, they're infallible.
They're infallible. Okay.
You know, you said primary, secondary infallibility. You know, how many people know there's a primary sense and a secondary sense?
Right. Yeah. No, secondary. It's secondary. Primary just means like things that come out of the deposit of faith, like Trinity, you know, like the big stuff, like dogmatic stuff, the Trinity. But secondary are things that flow from Trinity or flow from whatever the main dogma is. You know, so how do I put this into
like your Joro just said 100% what I was saying, see? Because she's also left Islam. She left Islam. Yeah, she was a Muslim. She now is in love with Jesus Christ our Lord. She's trying to raise her, I don't know how many children, but a child in the faith. And so these are issues she's wrestling with.
Yeah.
So the focus has to be there. Go ahead, brother, you're saying?
Yeah, I should make like a defense on papal infallibility on the basic level, because all the stuff that I have is like very advanced, right? Like Eastern Orthodox, Oriental Orthodox discussions on history. But I don't have anything that's basic, and my mind is very analytical, so it's hard for me to like make things.
You're going to lose the average person.
Basic. Exactly. Yeah.
So you got to know your audience. If you're going with the big boys, that's one thing. You got to put them in place. But majority of people are not on that level here. Like when I had Christian Wagner, and I forget his name, David, the guy who's Eastern Orthodox, who debates Filioque. What's his name?
David. Oh,
yeah, David Ernhan.
Yeah.
That debate, 90% of people did not understand a thing they were saying.
No.
The level of technicality on the metaphysical terminology and the distinction in the terms lost 90. I got lucky because I was trying to moderate and listen. In fact, it was so technical, I didn't even bother to go back to listen to it.
It's for certain minds.
Yeah, same thing with Jay Dyer versus Timothy Gordon. Same thing with Ubi Petras versus Eric Ibarra. Like these debates are... people watch these to catch like a minute of like, oh, he didn't answer his question. He was stumped. That's what they're looking for. They don't have no idea what they're talking about. Nobody knows what each side is saying unless you look at these. Like I've been studying these things for 15 to 20 years, and looking at the history. But if you're just starting off, you're just gonna be like, what is this guy saying?
Exactly.
Yeah. Over here it says, you want to answer this question at all?
Hello, Elijah. Am I supposed to understand the Vatican II claim that Muslim
Christians worship the same God? It's understood only by metaphysical sense.
Even by metaphysical sense, what do you mean by metaphysical? Ask them. Qualify that.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering.
What do you mean by metaphysical?
I have
people that know Kakish, the guy I love to block. He's asking you, Tome of Leo fall under primary or secondary infallibility?
Yeah, I just saw that laugh.
Subdeacon, that's my boy. What's up, Subdeacon?
My boy, that's why I love to block him every chance I
love to block him.
No, he's a great guy, man.
I know he is, but that's what I'm saying.
He's such a cool guy.
We know him actually in person. I've known him for like what
years?
10 years.
Yeah, we met.
Maybe they'll save you less time in purgatory.
I would say it would fall under primary because that's straight up Christology. Like that's.
Well, yeah, that's all it has to do with Christology, right?
Yeah,
that's right. Because it's a Christological issue. Yeah, right.
Yep. So he said Platonic Greek thought, I guess, as far as metaphysics. What
do you mean by
that would be Aristotelian, wouldn't that be?
Yeah, I don't know. Philosophy is not my thing. So,
John, what do you mean by Platonic Greek metaphysics? Are you saying that the Muslims, the average Muslims and the Catholics, are thinking along Platonic lines when it talks about the nature of God? See, try to dumb it down. Don't use high fluent language to try to impress us, because we don't get impressed by people who want to sound intelligent. Just ask Daniel Kakish.
Daniel Kakish. Speaking of Daniel Kakish, I remember this.
Tell them the story. That's the.
We were meeting at coffee shops, right? Just having conversations.
So it was Subdeacon, his cousin, and a bunch of other Protestants that he would bring.
It was our cousin first.
Yeah, it was our cousin. Yeah, and then it would be us two and a couple other Catholics, and we would sit and have debates. We would find anywhere, Starbucks. We would find like a Protestant church that we would go to the conference table and sit there, and we would just be debating. And this is 14 years ago.
Yeah, 14 years ago.
And eventually, Subdeacon Daniel was a Protestant at the time on the other side of the table, and this is what brought him to the Apostolic Fathers and the Church Fathers and made him Oriental Orthodox. So, and his cousin too became Oriental Orthodox because of this. So that's
yeah,
all it takes is
yeah.
patience.
It's a beautiful story. Yeah, I miss hanging out with Daniel. Well, I think he's just really trying to understand how we can reconcile Vatican II's. We worship the same God.
Yeah, it's okay. So if you go, I don't know if you follow me on Twitter, if you Elisha,
I'll
REP,
follow you.
Elijah,
I will follow you anywhere, handsome.
There you go. Yeah, appreciate it. So I actually tweeted something from St. John Chrysostom, right? And I quoted him. And if you go on to my Twitter and you search Chrysostom, you'll find the quote. He is talking about when Christ is talking to the Samaritan woman, how it's the same reference. The Samaritan woman and the Samaritans are referring to the same God as the Father that the Jews are referring to, right? So it's a referent thing, right? So it's not that we're saying that we believe in the same God as the Muslims in like a literal sense, but that when they are praying to God, since they believe or claim to believe in the Abrahamic God, right, God of Abraham, that we're referring to the same God.
Is this what is subsists? Is that the word that Aquinas used as well? So it subsists.
No, that's a different topic.
Is that a different topic? Okay.
Yeah. But you I think did a debate on this, right? Or was it on your channel?
Me?
Sam? Was it you or
series? If you screen share, Mister, I'll show you.
Yeah, if you can screen share?
Yeah, I got you.
Now, if you go to my channel, guys, I don't know why this is doing this here. You go right here. I did a series, and there are two playlists connected. You go down here. You may not be able to say it, but if you go to my channel playlist, Catholics, Eastern Orthodox, Islam, world religions. Do Muslims and Christians worship the same God? So you'll see there's about 24 videos I did addressing Lumen Gentium, Nostra Aetate, as well as paragraph 841 of the Catechism. So I went there and I explained very in depth because very in depth. So if you guys like to just binge watch, then don't watch Netflix. Just watch there and get your pizza and stuff yourself. But the answer to the question, I'll stop sharing for now, and I'll bring it up when I need to. The answer to the question, if you ask me, because I've studied the origin of pre-Islamic Allah, meaning if you ask me, Allah of pre-Islamic Arabia, if I trust the Muslim sources, because the scholars don't trust the Muslim narrative, they don't trust Muslim history because they say it's revisionistic, they've rewritten history. But if I take for granted what the Muslim narrative says, as they tell us what the pagan Arabs believed before Muhammad, if I go with that, the chief god of the Kaaba, if you guys don't mind, if you have time, I can unpack it in about 10 minutes, but it's up to you. Do you have time?
Go ahead. Yeah,
let's do it.
10 minutes is fine.
Okay. Chief god of the Kaaba is Hubal, also pronounced Hubal. Hubal is the Lord of Mecca. He was the god of Muhammad's family, Quraysh tribe. And the Kaaba was dedicated to him. Now, if you guys know anything about paganism, shrines are erected to one god. You can honor other gods, but a shrine is either to Zeus or it's to Diana or Artemis. The Muslim sources say that the Kaaba was erected to Hubal. That means he's the chief god. That means Allah would be the title given for Hubal. Hubal would be Allah. Now, the Muslims don't like to admit this because it's embarrassing. They're not going to tell you that. But if you ask them, so your sources say the Kaaba was built for Hubal. He was the Lord of Mecca. He was the chief god of the Kaaba. Yes. The god of Muhammad's grandfather, his family, Abdul Muttalib, is Hubal. Yes. Well, that means Allah has to be simply another name for Hubal. Now, the Muslim sources say the idol Hubal, Hubal, was imported from Syria. And it was actually the idol of the Moabites. That's in the Muslim sources. A man named Amr bin Luay, some will say Amr bin Luay, however you want to pronounce it, brought the idol to Kaaba. Well, the Moabites and the Amalekites, they worship Baal. That was their god. So that means Hubal is Baal. So if you ask me, the Allah of the pagan Arabs, who is he? It's Baal. Baal or Baal, like some people say. So it's nothing more but revived Baal worship. It is simply the same God, Baal, who has always been competing for the devotion of Yahweh's followers. Because what was the chief competitor to Yahweh in the Old Testament? It's Baal. You read your Old Testament, God is constantly rebuking the Israelites for falling after the Baalim, the various manifestations of Baal. So that's who Allah of the pagans are. Now, Muhammad comes, according to the sources, identifies Allah as the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. So he takes Allah, tries to divorce him from the pagan roots, separates him from Hubble, takes him and separates him from Hubble, disassociates him from Hubble, and says this is the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. So now when we take that into consideration, when a Muslim today is praying to Allah, you ask them, who are you praying to? The God of Abraham. Who's the God of Abraham? The creator of the heavens and the earth, separate from creation. So this God of Abraham, you believe sent Jesus? Yes. Who's Jesus? The Messiah, the virgin-born son of Mary, Maryam. Mary's the greatest woman that Allah created. That's in the Quran. And Jesus was sinless and a miracle worker, and he'll return. So if I go by what Muslims believe, it's true. Catechism nailed it. The Muslims profess to adore the God of Abraham. They do. And together with us, they seek to worship the one God. Exactly true. None of that is false. On a practical level, go to the average Muslim. Is Allah a foreign God from the God of the Bible? They'll say, stuck for Allah. You're about to get stuck for Allah.
Yeah.
Is Allah the one who sent Isa, Jesus, as his word into the womb of the Virgin Mary? Yes. So the Muslims profess to have faith in the God of Abraham. That's true. So together with Catholics, Orthodox, they worship and adore the one God. Yes, that's true when you take them on that level. The average Muslim has no idea about the Islamic, pre-Islamic roots of the Kaaba, pre-Islamic roots of Hubble, pre-Islamic roots of Hubble's connection with Allah. They don't know any of this.
Right.
And if you ask them, who built the Kaaba? Abraham and Ishmael. You know, you guys know this? I don't know. You guys who are quick to condemn, Muhammad or later Muslims rewrote the history of the Kaaba. According to them, the Kaaba is the first house of worship built for the God of Abraham by Abraham and Ishmael.
Right.
But then the later generations corrupted the rites and then brought in gods and goddesses, which Muhammad came to cleanse the Kaaba from. So on that level, Muslim, you know that your God, Allah, is Baal? They'll say, you're a liar. My God is the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. My God is the one who sent Jesus. Oh, so you're saying that you adore the same God that I do? Yeah. Yes. We don't believe in the Trinity, but it's the same God now. That's one level. Second level, if you're going to want to condemn Muslims for worshiping false God, and by the way, I'm on record and I haven't changed my position. Allah of Islam is a false God. Never changed my position. Allah of Islam of the Quran is Baal. Baal is the name of Satan. But I distinguish between what the Quran says, what the Sunnah says from the average Muslim. Just like if I survey the average Catholic or Orthodox about the Trinity, they're going to sound like modalist heretics. They're going to think Jesus is the Father, right? Because they don't know their faith. So notice what it doesn't say. It doesn't say the Quran. It says Muslims profess the same faith, and that's true. So if I take it on this level, the average person, who is your Allah? He's the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob.
Right.
Who is Jesus? He is the servant of Allah, the Messiah, the word of Allah. In fact, the two names given to Jesus in Islam, given to another prophet, Ruh Allah, Kalimat Allah. Spirit of Allah and the word of Allah.
Yeah.
Two names the Quran, Sunnah, and Islamic tradition attribute to Jesus and no one else. Kalimat Allah, the word of Allah. Ruh Allah, the spirit of Allah. Well, Kalimat Allah, where do you think Muhammad got that from? He got it from Christians who got it from John. Revelation 19:13 says his name is the word of God. Now, I want you to do me a favor, even though the Arabic Bible came later. If you have an Arabic Bible, could you read for me Revelation 19:13? I want to see what it says in Arabic. Any of you have it?
We can
Shoot.
You can pull up.
we can pull it up online.
Yeah, please do it, man. Come on, you guys can read Arabic. You Chaldean wannabes. See, Joe said, see, speaking the truth. Why? Because if you ask Joe when she was a Muslimah, is your God Baal or is he the true God of Abraham? The true God of Abraham.
What?
We said Revelation what?
Revelation 19:13. What does it say? It says word of God. Now, what does it say in the Arabic? You can read Arabic, right? You guys? I don't know if you can.
Not like this. No, I'm really bad at reading Arabic.
Thinking
And he's better than I am at reading Arabic. So
these make sense out. Or maybe Nina, if you have the Arabic Bible, can you read and tell us what does it say in Arabic and put in the comment section? Because I gave Elijah too much credit. I thought he can read languages.
Yeah, that's a big mistake.
Yeah. Now he put in Arabic. Translate the word of God. Does it say word of Allah?
They have right here. Daniel posted it.
Yeah. What does it say?
You got to go from left to right.
Last 2 words.
Right there.
Right to left.
There you go. There you go.
Kalimat Allah. You see it?
Kalimat. Okay. Yeah. Word of God.
Kalimat Allah. The word of Allah. You understand why I want him to use the Arabic Bible?
Yep.
Islam, one of the names of Jesus is Kalimat Allah.
Mm.
Where did it get it from? It got it from Christians. Because in Revelation 19:13, he's the word of God. Now, how would you render it in Arabic? That's why I wanted to show you. You render it Kalimat Allah. I'm going to give you another one. Hebrews 1:8, it says about the Son, he says, your throne, O God, O Theos. Arabic, your throne, Ya Allah.
Hebrew.
What's my point? You cannot just come up straight up say Allah of Islam is a pagan god. He's Baal, so it's the name of Satan. Therefore, Muslims worship Satan. It is true that the Allah of pagan Islam is not the true God, but it's not true that after the influence of Muhammad and after him refashioning Allah, that Muslims after Muhammad think that they're worshiping the false god Baal. Which Muslim thinks that?
Right.
Mm.
Now, here's what you can ask as well: is do the Jews worship the same God?
That's what I was going to ask right there. See,
Yeah.
I forgot about that because if we're going to be consistent, would you say the Jews worship the same God? You'll say, yeah, they have the Old Testament. Well, hold on, buddy. That's not as simple as you think, because Jesus said to the Jews of his day, and I'm going to screen share.
Right.
Jesus said to the Jews of his day, the Jews, who had the Old Testament,
Yep.
you do not know God,
Right.
and your father is the devil. In fact, here, let me screen share. So I went through all of this, but we need to go through it again. Okay, can you bring it up?
I got you.
Bismillah. I'll enlarge the screen in a minute. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. In fact, let me open up from here. You're laughing at me, man? Shoot.
I'm laughing at the Muslims.
Even he says that you're not really the children of Abraham.
Yep.
Let me just open. Let me go up. Now,
Feels like I'm a Dearborn.
stubborn and double down and say no, the Catholic Church is wrong. Well, you're gonna have a problem, man. You have a lot of Protestants and even the Eastern Orthodox and Orthodox do not take it to this level. In fact, Daniel Kakish got upset at me one time when I showed, I guess, the patriarch of the church, Oriental, kissing a Quran. He goes, I wasn't attacking. He took it on. That's why he's now blocked twice. I think it's going to be now 3 times. What I was trying to show is, buddy, all of these traditions are put in a situation where they have to tread lightly because their actions will lead to persecution of Christians. See, it's easy when you're an armchair quarterback sitting on the couch, eating pizza and ice cream like I do. But when you are a leader of a church and a predominantly Muslim majority, what you say can cause Christians to be killed. Very easy to be warriors when you're sitting on the couch.
Yeah.
Right? Because when the Pope says something, right, The whole world of Christianity will either suffer or be blessed. In fact, if you don't believe me, when Pope Benedict came out quoting a medieval Catholic theologian saying, Muhammad brought nothing new as terms as goodness. The only thing he brought was evil, bloodshed. And there was an uproar all over the world, an uproar, and Christians started getting attacked for what the Pope said.
Right.
So you armchair quarterbacks, thank the Lord you're not in a position where the lives of Christians are in your hands. The sheep are in your hands. And what you say can lead to the slaughter of the sheep. So that was my point. People living in glass houses, don't throw stones. Here, when they talk about the Abrahamic Center, right? Well, guess what, buddy? In Russia, the Russian Orthodox Church has now blessed a project where they're going to have a mosque, and I'm going to bring you the picture, a Buddhist temple, a synagogue, and an Orthodox church all in the same facility. In Russia, blessed by the Russian Orthodox Church. Anyway, now let me show you what our Lord says. They answered and said to him, John 8:39-54, Abraham's our father. Jesus said to them, if you are Abraham's children, you would do the deeds of Abraham. But now you are seeking to kill me, a man who's told you the truth, which I heard from God. This Abraham did not do. Notice, you don't belong to Abraham because you don't act like Abraham. You don't behave like Abraham. Abraham did not try to kill me when he saw me. You're trying to kill me. Now watch. Then who is their true father? You are doing the deeds of your father. They said to him, we were not born of sexual immorality. We have one father, God. Jesus said to them, if God were your father, you would love me. For I proceeded forth and have come from God. For I have not even come of myself, but he sent me. Why do you not understand what I'm saying? He's going to explain why. It is because you cannot hear my word. You are of your father, the devil. Damn. Jews who have the Old Testament, and Jesus says, God is not really your father, neither is Abraham. Your father is the devil. And you want to do the desires of your father, who's a murderer from the beginning, and does not stand in the truth, because there is no truth in him. Whenever he speaks a lie, he speaks from his own nature, for he's a liar and the father of lies. But because I speak the truth, you do not believe in me. Now, watch how they react. John 8:48. The Jews answered that to him, do we not say rightly that you are a Samaritan and have a demon? Now, to call a Jew a Samaritan was the height of insult, because Samaritan was considered by them half-breeds, because they were the 9.5 tribes of Israel mixed in with 5 nations, including Assyrians, to create the Samaritans. It's like if I call Elijah Kurdi. Isn't that an insult?
Yeah.
It stings a little bit. Yeah.
That's the highest.
To call someone Assyrian from Iraq, Kurdi, you're insulting them. Those are like fighting words. Kurdi. So that's what they're calling Jesus. The equivalent of calling him a Kurd. Kurdi. And a demon on top of that. Jesus answered, I do not have a demon, but I am my Father, and you dishonor me. But I do not seek my glory. There's one who seeks and judges. Truly, truly, I say to you, if anyone keeps my word, he will never see death ever. The Jews said to him, now we know that you have a demon. See, now we're really convinced you're demonized. Abraham died, and the prophets also, and you say, if anyone keeps my word, he'll never taste of death ever? Surely you're not greater than our father Abraham who died. Prophets died too, and here's the key. To whom do you make yourself out to be? Now, I forgot to add 55. Sorry, guys, because it's in 54, but 55 is like the death knell. Okay, watch here. Jesus answered, if I glorify myself, my glory is nothing. It is my Father who glorifies me, of whom you say he's our God. Now notice, he didn't say my Father who is your God. You claim he's your God.
Yeah.
See the difference?
Yep.
He didn't say my Father who's your God. You claim he's your God, but you have not known him. But I know him. And if I say that I do not know him, I'd be a liar like you, but I do know him and keep his word. You're a liar in thinking you know him, and I'd be a liar if I said I didn't know him. Okay, now, here are Jews who have the Old Testament, and Jesus says, you don't know God. God is not your father. You don't belong to Abraham. Satan's your father. What are you going to say to this? So if the Jews who have the Old Testament, who reject Jesus, are said to be sons of the devil, and that God is not their father because they don't know the true God, because if they knew the true God, they'd come to Jesus, then why are you shocked about Muslims who don't even have correct scriptures. In other words, the Jews at least have the Old Testament. So they have at least true revelation. And yet Jesus says to these Jews who have true revelation, you still don't know God. God is not your father. You're of the devil. Then when you come to Muslims who don't even have correct scriptures, who don't have correct revelation, but have been deceived by Muhammad into thinking Allah of Islam is the God of Abraham,
Yep.
cut them some slack and mercy. Their
Yeah.
judgment will be less than the Jews who will be judged more severely because they have correct scriptures. You understand the difference now?
No, that's really good. I like this whole he is our God. I mean, that right there, that's what Vatican II is saying.
Yeah.
That's all it's saying.
Because
I
you
mean,
claim he's your God,
yep.
but I'm telling you, you don't know him. Now, when does Jesus say this? Let's put it in perspective. He says this after they're confronted with the revelation. In other words, they're no longer guilty of invincible ignorance because he's cured their ignorance. He's given them signs, miracles they see with their own eyes. He's shown them scripture he's fulfilling. They don't have invincible ignorance to appeal to.
Right.
Because he doesn't say it to all the Jews, and you can't say this to all Jews, then you'd really be demonic, because the greatest creature is a Jewish woman, our Holy Mother Mary. She's Jewish. The first Christians are Jews. So we're not demonizing Jews. And don't take these statements and use it as a basis to hate Jews. Then you are a son of Satan, daughter of Satan. What Jesus is talking about, once these Jews have been confronted with the prophecies and the miracles they can't deny, they're no longer ignorant. It's what we would call vincible ignorance, because their ignorance got cured. Now they're accountable. Now you can say your God is a false God.
Right.
Yep.
But before they're confronted with this information, they think they're worshiping the God of the Old Testament.
Right.
Muslims think they're worshiping the God of Abraham.
Right.
Until they're confronted. Once they're confronted, that's a different story.
Yeah. Yeah.
This
Yeah,
is
that's
what.
right. It does say Muslims. It doesn't say Islam does.
Say it again. I didn't hear you, brother. What did you say?
I said, no, it does say Muslims do it. It doesn't say Islam does. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
Muslims. And that's true. They do.
That's an important point.
Go ahead, brother. I didn't mean to cut you off. I keep talking over you.
No, I'm saying that's an important point. That's an important nuance.
Right.
Yep. Take a survey of Muslims. Here, guys, prove me wrong. I'm one of the most adamant opponents of Islam. I hate Muhammad like I hate Satan, and I hate Allah of Islam. But I'm not going to demonize statements by the Catholic Church. Maybe when I was an anti-Catholic, because then that means I'm being a liar, because I understand the intent behind their statements. You know why? I read the context. I actually read paragraph 841 in context, and the context is about what is the church's view of those outside the church that don't know the gospel.
Right.
Are they lost? And it's in the context of missions, evangelizing them. See, people will take the paragraph. They don't look at I even wrote on it. I went and looked. It's about missions, that the church is the ark of Noah, and you got to get on the ark to be saved.
Yep.
And that we have a responsibility to go out to these people and show them the light of Christ. And until they have the light of Christ, to no fault of their own, right? The Lord meets them where they're at. Go read the context. I did. I actually did sessions on it. Now, if you think what Jesus said in John was bad, let me show you how bad it gets. I know you guys are busy. Let me know when you want me to wrap it up. This is really bad.
Yeah.
Revelation. Okay. You guys are Christian Zionists. You have a problem with Islam. You should have a worse problem with Zionism. Why? In two different locations, two different churches, Smyrna, where Polycarp was the bishop, and then Philadelphia. The only two churches that Jesus praises, the other five he rebukes for some shortcoming, for some sin or sins. Two different locations. They have one thing in common. There are Jews in these locations, and he says they're not Jews, and their synagogue belongs to Satan, meaning their synagogue, it doesn't belong to God. And in their synagogue, they're not worshiping God, they're worshiping Satan. What hell are you going to say about this? Revelation 2, here, 8-9. To the angel of the church in Smyrna write, this is what the first and the last, who was dead, and has come to life, says. I know your tribulation, your poverty, but you are rich. And the blasphemy of those who say they are Jews and are not, but are a synagogue of Satan. So now you Zionists and you Orthodox want to bash the Catholic Church. And I actually have documented Eastern Orthodox Church saying the same thing. I have it on. I'm going to show it to you. Jesus said in their synagogue, they don't even worship God. Their synagogue belongs to Satan. What are you going to say about this? Oh, but you'll say maybe it's an isolated incident. All right, let's go to Revelation 3:7 tonight.
Okay.
And to the angel of the church in Philadelphia write, this is what he who is holy, who is true, who has the key of David, who opens and no one will shut, and who shuts and no one opens, says, I know your deeds. Behold, I've given before you an open door, which no one can shut, because you have a little power and you've kept my word, and I'm not denying my name. Behold, I'm giving up those of the synagogue of Satan. Those who say that they're Jews and are not, but lie. They are liars. They're not really Jews in my sight. Their synagogue doesn't honor God. Their synagogue honors Satan. Now, if I go to a rabbi and I say, hey, you know, you worship Satan in your synagogue, what is he going to say to me?
Yeah.
And then what he's going to make these fake Jews do?
Right.
To the church, I will make them come and bow down at your feet, before your feet, and I will make them know that I've loved you. I'm going to make these fake Jews who don't know God, who are not really Jews, whose synagogue belongs to Satan, bow down to you, my church, because they're going to know I love my church. Oh, but wait, Israel's still God's chosen people.
Yeah.
Okay. So what are you going to say to this? You think I asked the Jew, the rabbi, hey, you know, your synagogue belongs to Satan. You know that, right?
Right. Yeah.
Hey, rabbi, you worship Satan.
Right.
What is he going to say to me? He's going to say, you are a wicked anti-Semite.
Right.
I worship the God of Abraham. See, this is my point. What the Bible says about who Jews now worship when they reject Jesus is true. But the average Jew doesn't know that they're not worshiping the true God in spirit and truth. They're ignorant. So God will extend mercy to them until they're confronted. Once they're confronted, now they are without excuse. And what does God call earthly Jerusalem? Here, Revelation 11:8. And their dead bodies, the two witnesses who will be killed, lie in the street of the great city, which spiritually is called Sodom and Egypt, where also their Lord was crucified. So let me ask you, brother, something. Where was Jesus crucified and killed?
Golgotha.
Golgotha.
Where?
Golgotha. Golgotha.
Where's that? What's the name of the area, brother? Astaghfirullah. Golgotha is in Hawaii. Where is it now?
Oh, Israel, Jerusalem, yeah.
Yeah, Jerusalem.
Yeah, like, oh, Golgotha. We don't want to say Jerusalem because we're scared, you know.
We're
I
advanced.
know it's Golgotha, but where? Is it in Honolulu, Hawaii?
It was, yeah,
Jerusalem,
Israel.
right?
We're advanced. Yes.
Jerusalem, right?
Yeah, Jerusalem.
Okay. Well, what did God call Jerusalem? Sodom and Egypt. Revelation 11:8. Sodom and Egypt. When you find a real historian, Christopher Tucker, get back to us. Yeah, because that shows either you're stupid or demonic, because embracing Nestorianism as it's defined is one thing, but accusing Assyrians of being Nestorians is another thing.
Yep.
They don't believe there are two Christ or two sons.
Yeah.
But nice try, though. You see it right here?
Yes, exactly. All condemned.
You caught it here, right?
Eastern Orthodox.
So you Chaldean brothers, what are you going to do about God calling Jerusalem on earth Sodom and Egypt?
Yeah, I mean, there's a twofold to it, right?
It's what?
There's a twofold to it, isn't there?
I don't know what a twofold is. All I know is he's saying Jerusalem is Egypt, which God condemned and set his people free. And it's just as immoral and wicked as Sodom. In other words, if it's Egypt, where did God ransom his people from? Where did he take them out of in the Exodus?
From Egypt, right?
So do you understand what he's telling you? Leave Jerusalem because that's your Egypt.
Yep, that makes sense. Wow, that's pretty crazy.
Do you understand? God is calling Jerusalem on earth Egypt. That's the place you need to be set free from. Ransomed, you need to leave because it's Sodom. It's immoral.
That's amazing. Yeah, I never saw that before. That's really cool.
Because you're too busy, papacy and stuff for Allah, brother. But that's-
Exactly. Yeah.
So that's how I answer that question. So all you need to do, guys, stop this nonsense. Well, but it says we worship and adore the same God. Yeah, because the Muslims, if you ask them, who's your God? It's the God of Abraham, the God who sent Jesus. Jesus is his word and his spirit. No, you worship Baal. They'll say, what are you talking about? Just like the Jews. Just like the Jews. Hey, you know, your synagogue, you worship Satan there. Say what? Oh, I'm sorry. That's what my Lord said. You must distinguish between the average Jewish person, average Muslim, average Christian who don't know a lick about these issues from those who know, like a Tovia Singer, who has made it his entire life mission to blaspheme Jesus, attack the faith, and destroy Christianity.
I like that. This is a very powerful answer. I mean, like what you're doing is you're kind of dissecting and nuancing this question and answering it with a nuanced answer. But all these people are just taking this in a general sense and condemning what Vatican II says without really understanding where it's coming from. And that's the problem with online folks, like what I call Eastern Orthodox, not Eastern Orthodox, is they don't have like they kind of think like Muslims.
Yep.
You know, that's they're just straightforward. They don't have any nuance to them.
Brother, I did a whole session, and I even have blogs, Lumen Gentium, to show you what it means. I read it. I went and read the context here.
Yeah.
Palamas, Lumen Gentium, Muslims. This was by Divine Mercy Apologetics. But here, you just put in here, guys. You put in my blog, Lumen Gentium, and here, this one right here. Vatican II, the Catechism and World Religions. I went through it meticulously. I read the context. If you guys were honest, not you guys, you'll know the context is about evangelism.
Yep.
Reaching world religions with the gospel, which is the mandate of the Catholic Church, and says, when you find these religions, no, God would put a spark of light, meaning there'll be some truth in them you can use to bring them to Christ. Here it is. The Catholic Church recognizes, and other religions, that search among shadows and images for the God who is unknown, yet near, since he gives life and breath in all things and wants all men to be saved. Quoting Acts 17, using the Bible. Acts 17, what Paul said to the Athenians. Thus, the church considers all goodness and truth found in these religions as what, guys? This is the context of paragraph 841. A preparation for the gospel given by him who enlightens all men, that they may at length have life. This is the very context of 841 that people quote. The church's relation with the Muslims. See? This is the context. Saying, take what the Muslims say and use it to bring them to Christ. Oh, so you adore the God of Abraham? Well, let me tell you what the God of Abraham did in Jesus.
Right.
This is the context. And their relationship with Abraham, men also display the limits and errors that disfigure the image of God in them, because they're deceived by the evil one. The context is, find these people, see what they believe, see if there's any truth in it, use that truth to bring them into what? The ark, which is the church, right here. To reunite all his children, scattered and led astray by sin. The Father will to call the whole of humanity together into his son's church. So you have, unfortunately, some Catholics who even butcher what the Catechism says to justify leaving Muslims as Muslims. But that's not what the Catechism says. So be careful of even Catholics who will butcher these statements and what the context says. So I went and read it for myself. Here. So what does the Father want? Everyone, all humans, Muslims, to come into the church. The church is the place where humanity must rediscover its unity and salvation. The church is the world reconciled. She is that bark which in the full sail of the Lord's cross, by the breath of the Holy Spirit, navigates safely in the world. According to another image, dear to the church father, she is prefigured by Noah's ark, which alone saves from the flood. And it hasn't changed. There is no salvation outside the church, but it's nuanced.
Yep. That's
Here.
amazing stuff.
Yeah.
Notice how many times it says, this affirmation is not aimed at those through no fault of their own do not know Christ and the church. Those who through no fault of their own do not know the gospel of Christ or his church, but who nevertheless seek God with a sincere heart. This is the context. If they've never heard the gospel, never been presented to Christ, then God will meet them where they're at. But that's why it says here, although in ways known to himself, God can lead those who, through no fault of their own, are ignorant of the gospel, to that faith without which it is impossible to please him. The church still has the obligation, all sacred right, to evangelize all men. So why do you butcher 841? Why do you guys do that? Why don't you read the context like I did?
Right.
Why do you guys do that? You understand?
Yeah.
You are bearing false witness against what the Catholic Church. Now, I don't want to blame you entirely because you have some clowns who claim to be Catholic who also butcher these statements. But I just gave you the context.
Yeah. No, this is powerful stuff. Where can people find that?
Right here. It's on my blog. I'll send it to you private chat and everyone else. But that's why, brother, if you spent less time trying to debate and prove that you're the best at papal infallibility, my sessions, maybe you'll learn this stuff.
Well,
So
I've already done that.
share that link with them if you want. I sent
I've already proved that, so I can move on.
Speaking of Jews and Muslims, I love this is great. I wish we could sit here for another 3 hours to do this. It's actually incredible. We're gonna throw some pork ribs on the grill on a Saturday, so that's gonna be the most Catholic thing that we could do right now. So
what did you want to say? You wanted to ask me something? You said
no, I'm saying speaking of Jews and Muslims, we're gonna throw some pork ribs on the grill on
you're
a
shutting
Saturday.
down. All right, you're shutting down. All right. Well, if you're shutting down, let me show you something. But I don't want to show you.
Take your time, brother.
Just let me know how many more minutes because I wanted to show you this Russian Orthodox Church.
We can end it at 5:30 Eastern. We have about 10 minutes.
Yeah, 10 minutes. Take your time.
Okay, because I want to find this. I don't know why I can't find it now. Oh, here it is. No, this is not it. Oh, yeah, this is it. Orthodox Christianity. This is their website. I'm going to send it to you. Interfaith Center with church, mosque, Jewish, and Buddhist temples to be built in Moscow, January 18, 2024, with the blessing of the Russian Orthodox Church. There it is. It's being set in motion.
But they're not infallible. They don't claim to be infallible. So
that's what they keep telling me. And by the way, this is Jay Dyer's church, the Russian Orthodox Church.
Yeah,
he's Russian Orthodox.
Yeah,
I just sent it to you in private. So they call it the Abrahamic Center, right, with the Catholic zone. But wait, hold on, buddy. Here you have a Buddhist temple with a mosque.
Yeah.
An Orthodox church.
That's crazy.
Right?
Yeah.
So there you go.
The Antichrist.
So yeah, I already adjusted in those series. So that's why I say. Now, again, I don't want to blame everyone because when you have Catholics who will misuse Vatican II, misuse the Catechism, paragraph 841, saying, no, Muslims have a hope of being saved because they have a path to God. That's a lie. That's not what the Catechism says in context. You want me to read it again? Where it says that it's the duty of the church to then evangelize the whole world because there's no salvation outside the church. The church is the ark, and we need to bring them into the ark. But to no fault of their own, if they don't know the church and they don't know Christ, then God will take whatever light they have and in some mysterious way save them because of the merits of Christ.
Right.
Right. Okay.
That's really powerful stuff. What was I going to say? There's another question on here.
Yeah, feel free to ask me what you want.
Somebody asked. I think it was for me, but I'm trying to understand what they were asking.
What was it?
This is January 18, 2024. If you guys don't see, they'll share the links. I can't. They have to share it in those two links. It's right there.
Is that in the plans, like in the works?
Yes.
It's in
the right here. Right here. Construction on an interfaith cultural educational center in the Kommunarka section of Moscow will begin this year. That was 2024.
Last year, yeah.
Wow.
This site will include an Orthodox church, a mosque, a Jewish temple, and a Buddhist temple, representing what the Russian Constitution recognizes as the four traditional religions of Russia. Now, where do you find this? OrthodoxChristianity.com, right here.
So who's behind? Is this like the secular government is behind this? Do we know?
Well, I mean, Russia is going to actually finance it, but the point is the Russian Orthodox Church is in agreement blessing it because it's on Orthodox Christianity. And if they were not in agreement, they wouldn't have an Orthodox Church built in the same center.
True. That's true. Wow.
So whether the Russian government's finances, that's irrelevant to the point that the Russian Orthodox Church is celebrating this.
So here's the thing, like I hear the Orthodox, or I like to call the Orthobros, say Catholicism cannot be falsified because if the Pope says anything wrong, you can just say, oh, he's not infallible in what he said. That's not true. I mean, if he binds the whole church to something and faith or morals, and that thing is heretical, and let's say he says,
that falsifies the church.
Jesus is not God, right? That falsifies it. There's no questions, no ifs, ands, or buts. That's it. You're done. But to me, there's nothing that you can say to falsify Eastern Orthodoxy because you could just say, oh, we don't believe these patriarchs are infallible. So what would falsify Eastern Orthodoxy?
Well, you have someone commenting along similar lines. I'll look what it's saying here. I think that's because Russian Eastern Orthodox infiltrated by the Russian government. Now, brother, you just buried that entire branch. Why? Because if you're saying it's infiltrated and the patriarch allowed the infiltration, you have no Russian Orthodox Church anymore. Because Ignatius said that there is no church without the bishop. So if you just admit the patriarch is infiltrated and he's allowing this, there is no Russian Orthodox Church. So choose your words wisely. Ignatius, in his letter to the Smyrnians, and if you want, I'll bring it up before I end it, says, there is no church without the bishop. It has nothing to do with infallibility. It has to do, you can't have a church without the bishop.
Right.
You just said the Russian Eastern Orthodox Church infiltrated. That means you just said the patriarch, the head of the Russian Eastern Orthodox Church, allowed the infiltration. So you're saying he's a wolf? Well, if he's a wolf, you don't have a church. Or you're not going to argue like the Catholics. Well, he can be a wolf, but the church still be preserved.
Right.
How are you going to argue now?
Right. That's a good point.
I know what Ignatius says, and we can wrap it. I know you guys got to eat and pray because in 3 weeks I got to be in fighting shape. If not, I'm going to dox you and Sarmad. All right?
He already did that to you.
Hey, Sarmad, why don't you just give him my P.O. box as well? Hear what he says. The letter to the Smyrnians, I'm going to enlarge it right here. So you sure you want to say it's infiltrated? So did your patriarch allow the infiltration? So where's the shepherd to protect the sheep from the wolves? Choose your words wisely. Same measure used will be used against you.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with infallibility. It has to do, you have to have a bishop. Ignatians say, unless, if he's not infallible. No, he doesn't argue infallibility. He argues you have to have a bona fide bishop if there's no church. Here, chapter 8, let nothing be done without the bishop. Okay. See that you all follow the bishop, even as Jesus Christ does the Father. You must submit to the patriarch as you submit to the Father. Right here. And the presbytery, that's the elders, we can call bishops or priests, as you would the apostles, and reverence the deacons as being the institution of God. Let no man do anything connected to the church without the bishop. Buddy, you just said there is no Russian Orthodox Church. Because you just said it's infiltrated. So if it's infiltrated, you just said the patriarch is a wolf. If he's a wolf, you don't have a bishop, you don't have a church.
Right.
Right.
Yep.
There's
Don't
no
tell me, no, he's not infallible. Did Ignatius make that qualification? Did he say, no, it's okay if you don't believe bishops are infallible.
Right.
Then it's okay if they're a wolf. Choose your words wisely. You're going to bury yourselves. Let me finish it. Okay. Let no man do anything connected to the church without the bishop. Let that be deemed a proper Eucharist. The only Eucharist God will accept, which is administered either by the bishop or by one to whom he has entrusted it. Wherever the bishop shall appear, notice, where the bishop shall appear,
right.
Let the multitude also be why, even as wherever Jesus Christ is, there is the Catholic Church. The oldest extant reference to the word Catholic. Ignatius, Bishop of Antioch, Syria, a disciple of the apostles on his way to being martyred at Rome. It is not lawful without the bishop either to baptize or to celebrate a love feast, but whatsoever he shall approve of, that is also pleasing to God. Now, buddy, since your Russian patriarch approved of this interfaith center, that means God is pleased with it.
Yep.
Right? Isn't that what Ignatius just said?
Yeah.
So everything that is done may be secure and valid. So now help me understand this, because there's one paragraph, 2 minutes, we're done. If there is no church without the bishop, if this guy just said the government infiltrated Russian Orthodox Church, that means the patriarch allowed it. That means he's not a bishop. And if he's not a bishop, that means there is no church. Is that the implication of what he's saying, Elijah?
Right. Yeah.
But then we're told whatever the bishop approves pleases God.
Yep.
Now that means if the patriarch approved this, God is pleased with it. Damn if you do, damn if you don't.
Yep.
Right.
Chapter 9, finally. There you go. So choose your words carefully. Okay? Your glass house is coming crashing on your heads because Jesus will use the measure you use against someone against you to silence you. Matthew 7:2. And I've warned the ortho bros about this.
Yeah.
Moreover, it is in accordance with reason that we should return to soberness of conduct. And while yet we have opportunity, exercise repentance towards God It is well to reverence both God and the bishop. You see the authority of the bishop?
Yep.
Now, you would say that of the patriarch, right? Because he's the head.
Yep.
He's the bishop of all bishops when it comes to ruling the Russian Orthodox Church. He who honors the bishop has been honored by God. He who does anything without the knowledge of the bishop does in reality serve the devil. That means Jay Dyer serves the devil because he's in disagreement with the Russian patriarch in being on board with this interfaith center where there's a mosque and a Buddhist temple. That means Jay Dyer is of the devil, according to Ignatius. That all things then abound to you through grace, for you are worthy. You have refreshed me in all things, and Jesus Christ refresh you. You have loved me when absent as well as when present. May God recompense you, for whose sake, while you endure all things, you shall attain unto him. There it is. Game over. End of story.
Yep.
Checkmate.
No, this is
Add
good.
that to your repertoire, Elijah.
Say that again.
Add that to your repertoire. Add that to your arguments.
Well, this is good stuff. And if you think about it, they can't really say, "Oh, they're not infallible, so it doesn't falsify." Because what happens in the early church, in the first millennium church, is when a bishop or patriarch starts talking wacko stuff, what happens to him? They don't just let him be. They hold a council and they condemn him.
Yep.
He's separated from the church. I don't see that happening at any point with the Eastern Orthodox. So you got the patriarch praying with Muslims, and it's like, oh, we're not supposed to pray with Muslims, but he's not infallible, so it doesn't falsify. Well, who's condemning him? Who's saying anything about it? He's wrong? Nobody. Nobody's standing up saying anything. So,
in fact, brother, remember what I just said. Ignatius doesn't make a qualification, meaning this is only true if you think the bishop is infallible.
Right.
So if you believe your bishops are infallible, then they are therefore, right, disqualified when they make these decisions. He doesn't even bring up the issue of infallibility. It's simply the bishop is in the place of God.
Yep.
You submit to him like you submit to God the Father, and whatever he does is pleasing to God. So this, what they call red herring or smoke and mirror, well, we don't think they're infallible. Well, according to you, neither did Ignatius think any of the bishops are infallible, right? According to them?
Exactly.
So if he didn't make that a prerequisite. Because they're infallible, they can't. And if they do, no. Bishop in any area, there is no church without him. So if you're telling me that the Russian government infiltrated the Russian Orthodox Church, that means your bishop, the patriarch, allowed the infiltration. That means either he's a wolf, you have no church, because there is no church without the bishop, or what he decided is pleasing to God, and therefore you orthobros who keep condemning it, you're condemning yourselves to hell, because you're now dishonoring God.
Right.
You choose your poison.
Yeah, and if that's your bishop, that's your like pope for your local diocese.
Yeah.
So if he's wrong, then who do you go to? Like that, I mean, like you said, it falsifies your whole jurisdiction at that point.
Yeah, that's it. And that's why I don't let them use infallibility. I say, hey, buddy, forget infallibility. There is no church without the bishop.
Right.
Now you're telling me that if you respect and acknowledge Muslims as adoring the God you worship, that is now blasphemy. Therefore, the Russian patriarch blasphemed by agreeing to have this cultural center where you have a mosque and a Buddhist temple on top of that. Now there are Buddhists who don't even believe there's a God. There's a form of Buddhism, they're atheists.
Right.
So now, if that's blasphemy to say that Muslims adore the God of Christians, because our God is triad, the Russian patriarch is blasphemous. You're saying now he's a wolf. He allowed the church to be infiltrated. You have no church anymore. Because where are the other bishops rising up to condemn him and defrocking him?
Yep. Well, I'm glad you're here, man. This is good stuff.
Well, you know, I'm always happy to make you better than you are because you have a lot left to be desired.
Oh, yeah. I'm a one-trick pony. It's just a papacy. I always tell people that.
Well, bro, pray for me. I'm going out with a bang today, and then tomorrow I'm going to have to start tight. I got 2-3 weeks to look better than my brother right here, Enoch.
Yeah.
All right, because I want to look better than Sarman and start doing a lot of cardio, you know.
There you go.
Hey, Sarman, take a long walk on a short pier. See how much weight you lose then. All right, I'll let you go eat your halal pork, and we'll see each other soon.
God bless you. Thanks for joining us, brother.
Thank
God
you.
bless you. Take care.
All right. God bless. Okay, let's look the that question right there.
Yeah, I just want to end it by answering that
Yeah,
question.
it'll be really quick. If I can get there, let's see.
Up more. Yeah, right there.
Wait, no, that's
That's not the same guy though.
all right. Enoch, for Elijah, I have a question. Could it be said that the Eastern Orthodox has not technically anathematized and condemned the Catholic Church on the same level as the first 7 ecumenical councils? And as a clarification, for example, Nestorians, Arians, and all condemned, the Eastern Orthodox have never ruled the papacy or the beliefs
of the Catholic Church on the same level.
right? It's hard to answer like straightforward from the Eastern Orthodox perspective because there's so many different opinions. So like just what we're talking about, like you can't just say, oh, the bishop says this, so therefore that's what the Eastern Orthodox teach, right? They've never held a council, not that I'm aware of, where they're saying that this is condemned, or what have you, like we did with the Arians and the Nestorians, like you're saying. I'd rather not speak for them. Maybe there is something I'm not aware of. I have to say I don't know the answer to that question, but my hunch tells me that you're right. It's not to that level, but it's something that you'd want to ask at Eastern Orthodox. But even if you get an answer from them, they're uninfallible. So I guess they have to hold a council first for us to have any answers, an ecumenical council or pan-Orthodox council. But we're going to go ahead and end it here because family's waiting to get that. Like he said. Oh, man. It's something that the Muslims and Jews love to eat, I guess.
On a Saturday, too.
On a Saturday, yeah. Great.
Yeah, we're equating double haram.
Double negative equals
All right, guys. Thanks again for this was we just thought of this like
10 minutes before.
Yeah, it turned out great. I'm happy that Sam showed up, and you guys, thank you guys again, man, for joining us. So
yeah,
you got some debates coming up, right?
Yeah, we mentioned them already.
Yeah, well, mention them again, please.
November 7th, Father Sweden, on Standing for Truth channel. I want to say December 7th. I'll see when it is exactly, but with the other Paul. And then in January, we don't have a date yet, but with Agan, Oriental Orthodox, and then I'll debate an Eastern Orthodox sometime in January, hopefully. So I got 4 debates coming up.
Sorry. And then
the papacy, by the way. Yeah.
If you guys be so generous, I just released 3 weeks ago an entire apologetics album called Rapologia. So go check that out and download it on iTunes so I can make my money back so I can put out more music.
Yeah, absolutely. Reverse Psychology. Don't buy his album.
Yeah, it sucks. Don't buy it. Buy it. All right, guys. God bless.
God bless you.
Talk to you soon. End stream.